I'm Mark Reilly, and this is Limerick Post Show. And today I'm joined by Limerick footballer Brian Donovan. Thanks for joining us, Brian.
Thanks a million for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Just quickly, we're going to jump into this. So you exited the championship against Cork. Like, what's the view on that? What are your personal opinions, and what was the dressing room like after the defeat?
Yeah, it was a bit sickening now, to be honest. But so we played Waterford in the first round championship. I thought it went really well in that game. We kind of everything kind of came together. The boys played well together. We put up a good score against them, so we were coming into the Cork game confident, and we thought we could really do a job on them. But unfortunately, just things didn't go our way on the day. I suppose the semi-final, Munster semi-final, Limerick teams, they're especially football teams, they wouldn't really be used to
Mm.
playing, like, in front of a big crowd and whatnot. But yeah, just things didn't go to plan, and unfortunately, we lost by 8 in the end. But there was a lot of learnings to take from the match, and obviously after the game, everyone was disappointed. But I think all in all, we had such a good season. We learned a lot from the season, and we kind of we did really well. So can't really complain too much. But yeah, a lot of learnings, and hopefully next year now we can take those learnings and improve.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I thought it was a great season, and you're always improving. That's the thing. I mean, you've come on leaps and bounds, and like what Billy Lee has done is evident. I mean, Joe,
Yeah,
you're really,
100%.
yeah, you're
And
everywhere improved.
he always says it, like a couple of years ago, I think he had like 30 or 40 lads who turned down coming into Limerick football. So, there's a big turnaround there in the last 5 years, in fairness. And everyone that kind of wants to play, and all the good lads that are playing football, they actually want to come in and play with Limerick, which is good to see.
Of course, it's only a good thing, and it's like if you have more success, which you have had, which
Yeah,
you're getting more and more used to it, and you're getting up there, and it's basically the bigger games you're getting more confident that you can take on the challenge. And when younger generations are looking at that, like even the Limerick Academy, like they're looking at that now, and they're like, okay, yeah, I fully believe that this is what I want to do now, and we can actually challenge and we can improve every single year. So like,
that's it.
was there anything? I suppose, is there anything like in particular that where like against Cork that just you came away basically being like, we could have done better there? Was it like what in particular? What stuck with you basically the night you tried to go to sleep, if you had any
Yeah,
sleep? What were you
yeah,
thinking?
yeah. So like, I thought defensively we were very good in that game.
Yeah,
Our full back line was very consistent for the whole season. But I'd say it was just kind of that our scoring in the final third. We get up the pitch and we kind of didn't know what to do, or we just didn't take our chances really, and it showed evident after the game. There were chances there to get a goal or two that just went past the post, just went wide. Another day they could have gone into the back of the net. So
100%.
yeah, definitely the scoring would be one of the big ones up there.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's it. This championship football. It's just
That's
such
it.
fine margins, like, and that's why it can be frustrating. Because I remember watching the game, and I just thought, like, I thought we were like, in terms of going through the phases, absolutely brilliant, defensively
Yeah,
solid. I just thought, like you said, it was just more, I suppose, being clinical. That was
that's
the
it.
only. It was just, and obviously, again, it was just on the day. I mean, any other day they sail
That's
over,
it.
you're going through. So it is fine margins. But I suppose quick background check on you, Brian. So basically like what was the process to get into Limerick? You were playing from Lean, and like you were always talented at sports. You did rugby, you played soccer. Like what happened there? How did you basically
Yeah.
focus and zone in on just football?
So yeah, it was a weird one. I started off in school. It was always soccer, rugby. Like, we were kind of a rugby school, so my attention kind of went towards rugby. But
Yeah.
yeah, soccer would have always been number one. Played it all the way through school, and first year of college, it was just I was playing at Limerick underage the whole way up,
Yeah,
really.
because actually, sorry to interrupt, because I just quickly, because you were immensely talented at soccer. Like, what did you went on a scholarship to the States?
Yeah, I did. So I did 1 year in UL, and I was all soccer, and then I knew I was going away the following year.
Hmm.
So I went over to the States, went to Miami. Great experience. Met, you know, a variety of different cultures, different people, playing with like Brazilians,
Yeah,
Venezuelans.
completely
It
different
was,
culture. Like, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it was very cool over there. But obviously I was 18, 19 going over, and you're going, like 4 or 5 hour flight away. Can't see any of your friends and family. So I was there for a semester in Miami. Miami was a cool city as well. But
yeah.
unfortunately, yeah, I just got a bit homesick. Came home at Christmas and never went back over. So it was a bit of a weird one. But the minute I came home, I remember my under 14 coach. So I actually hadn't played football I stopped playing under 14 because I kind of rugby and soccer took over. But then when I came home from America, I remember my under 14 coach from Moline, Jason O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me a call and was like, "Look, I know you've just come home from America, but any interest in going playing a bit of football with Moline?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely, I'll give it a go." So I'd just been playing, say, the season before. I kind of dipped my toe in it a bit and went to a few trainings. So yeah, I went back, played a bit of football, thought the lads were sound. We had a really good manager and coach at the time. So the setup was there and very professional. So I said I might as well just stick with it and see how it goes. And I haven't really looked back since.
Yeah. I suppose two questions on what you answered there. I suppose, like, so homesick, any reason why, or was it just the family and just that simple?
Yeah, so like when you go somewhere across, the other side of the world, I think it was Snapchat was just coming kind of big at the time.
Or yeah.
And you can see all your lads at home just kind of going out in college and meeting new friends and all that. And then I had a completely different life over.
Yep.
And then I was kind of thinking, I'm coming home at Christmas and I'll come home at summer. Like that's twice a year. So I'm missing out on a lot, say back home. And for some reason that was just always on my mind. And I said, if I'm doing 4 years of college in America, you're moving on with your life and doing something completely different, but at the same time you're missing out on a lot of things back home as well. So I just kind of weighed it up, talked to the family when I came home, and I decided to stay at home, and I don't regret the decision.
Yeah, good. Well, good, because I don't think you need to regret the decision. Not that I'm in your shoes, but like, I mean, you're far away now. But it's just, I think a lot of people when they look at that, they're like, oh, why did you turn that down? But like, you've prospered since, and even still, I mean, like you said, to leave your family and your best friends, and when you know that they're all going, like, I mean, eventually, as life moves on, everyone gets older. Life will shift and people go their own ways. So you do want to enjoy the moments while you can. So I completely understand. I 100% understand where you're coming from. Back to when you took a break. What was the hiatus like? Why? How long was it actually? How long were you not playing football for?
So basically, under 14s up until when I was around 14, I stopped and I went back when I was around 18. So yeah, the 4 years. The only reason, like, it wasn't my preference at the time.
Yeah.
I just preferred other sports. Just football in Limerick, especially when I was 14, you're looking at, the soccer players, professional athletes.
100%.
We're looking at the hurlers doing well in Limerick. But
Yep.
nothing really pulling me to stick with the football and kind of, there wasn't much ambition there. But obviously just things fell into place down the line. And I ended up playing it and I actually love the sport as well. So
Yeah, but that's nice, is because you could be part of that change.
exactly.
You're part of the team that are slowly changing people's ideas on football in Limerick. And it's
100%.
we can go back to hurling. I mean, the hurlers, I mean, yeah, okay, outside 2007 did well, but it's been patchy, and we've never had consistent, like, the youth coming through. We've never had like constant Munster championships and going into All Ireland finals and blowing teams away. And now, I mean, we're the team to beat, and it's being part of that change and that culture change.
100%.
Yeah, just basically trying to get people more involved and understanding that the amount of talent that we do have in the county is immense.
Yeah. And
So-
the only way to do that is win matches and play in big games. And that's when the young kids
Absolutely.
will kind of look at it and want to do the same.
Yeah. A generic one for you. So, who was your biggest influence in terms of, like, I suppose, coaches or family? Your dad, a coach you had at Moline. What really sparked your, I suppose, fire to potentially go on and play for Limerick?
Yeah, there's a good few influences now, to be honest. But obviously, yeah, my father would be number one. As a kid, he'd be dropping me all over the country for different sports, kind of not forcing me to do anything, and throw me into a bit of everything. So I can try everything and pick my own path, I suppose. So he'd always be number one, and after a game, he'd always be honest with me, telling me if I played bad or if I played good. So
Yeah,
I'd
the
always
awkward
kind of go
car
to-
journey home.
Sorry.
The awkward car journey home if you didn't
Yeah,
play.
that's exactly it. You play bad when it's just silence in the car.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need that. You need someone that's honest with you, that will just tell you how it is. Because sometimes when you don't get feedback, or someone's telling you play good when you play bad, it nearly messes with your head even more.
1,000.
Because there's just no honest opinion there.
So Billy Lee, what's the
Yeah.
situation? There's a bit of uncertainty around, like, whether he's coming back. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, so basically he's done his term now. So he has to talk to the county board again and suss it out and see what the story is. But I think it's fairly self-explanatory that he's done very well with Limerick over the last 5 years. And
All I
he's
get from you
brought,
and everyone is the dressing room are fully behind them. Like,
that's exactly it. Yeah, he's a very good manager and a good people's person. So yeah, I can't see him not staying on for another year or two, depending. Obviously, let's talk to the county board and see where their heads are at.
yep.
And see what they want. But at the end of the day, it's their decision, not the players. But I'm sure they'll see the feedback and they'll know that the majority of players are happy there. So
I'm not a guru in football, never claimed to be, but like from what I've seen, what I've watched, I personally think it's a no-brainer. Like
yeah,
I think the development has been there for everyone to see. I think
yeah,
more than anything, and people think it's a simple thing, but it's half the battle is the mental aspect. I mean, confidence that you all have and the confidence he instills in the whole team and the county as a whole that no, we can compete with the big boys, and sooner or later we will be one of the big boys. And
yeah.
I think he's taking you from strength to strength. So
He
look,
definitely
like
has.
you said, who knows? But I just assume that ye all back him, and I've been in the same corner as you.
We
I
do, we
believe.
do. And if you look in the last 2 or 3 years, like we've got promoted there last year from Division 3 up to Division 4 up to Division 3. And we held our own in Division 3. We played Chip in the first game. We were Munster champions coming into it, beating them, and then getting to a playoff final. So,
Yep.
to get into Division 2. So, yeah, like the kind of the results are showing for themselves. And I'd say it'll be an easy decision, like you said.
Yep.
But obviously, none of the players know at the minute, and we're kind of staying out of it.
So anything from your game that I'll go positive and then I'll nitpick on the negative. So positive, what do you think is your biggest attribute this season? What did you improve on, or what do you think was the biggest strength to your game?
I suppose from a tactical side of it, just playing a bit smarter. I was playing the kind of a new position for Limerick this year. It's been in that centre forward role. But yeah, like if we're going from the start of the season, what say Billy would have asked me to improve on, it's kind of that the scoring and being clinical like we've talked about. So that's something that we improved on as a whole, as well as myself throughout the season. Obviously, it didn't come off against Cork as much, but yeah, definitely that kind of shooting side of things.
Just the rootless nature.
That's it. But obviously, when you're playing games that are high pressure, it's those small margins, and so because we're not used to that, like right now at this minute, that's probably the difference. But the more games you play at that level, I think the better we'll get, and hopefully we can get it over the line.
I agree. It goes back to what we were saying 2 minutes ago. It's just confidence. And
That's
once
it.
you have those experience, even like losing is arguably where you learn the most. And eventually you
100%.
will come to the point where you will become clinically be more confident and you learn from the mistakes. And it's just, yeah, it's evolving, and you are evolving under Billy. So yeah, it's interesting. So you don't have to pick a negative, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Any negatives that you think you could improve on, or just anything that's kind of like, that is a slight weak point in my game?
Yeah, well, obviously I can improve on everything. I'm never going to be the finished article.
Good
But,
attitude. Yeah.
sorry.
It's a good attitude.
Yeah, like it's the way you have to think, I suppose. But yeah, there's a lot to improve on. Like I said, it's just kind of maybe the decision making at times. When you're playing with your club, you have that extra second or two on the ball, whereas when you're playing in the county, you don't have that extra second or two. So the decision has to be made quicker and has to be the right decision. So yeah, there's at times where because you're under pressure, you might make that wrong decision. So yeah, it's definitely something I can improve on.
Okay. Right. A few teammate questions. Who was the biggest motivator, or let's just say, actually, I'll keep it easy. Who's the best trainer? Who sets the tone?
The best trainer. You'd have to go. There's a good few. Like there's definitely a good few in my head now at the minute.
Don't be humble now. You can say yourself, Brian.
No, definitely not. But far from it. But yeah, look, that's good captain Ian Corbett.
Yeah.
Every time he steps on the field, he's just that manic aggression. He always, commits to the tackle and gives it 100%. So yeah, that's Ian Corbett.
Yeah, you can actually see it in the Cork match as well. Just never says die. Like it's just constant, keep going, and it does, like you said, set the tone.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, are you going to give me the worst trainer, Brian?
Definitely. If I was to give you the worst trainer, I'd have to give myself.
Stop. You don't have to give
No,
me.
I wouldn't say. There is everyone's good trainer, especially this year because with such
Yeah.
a short season. The intensity was just at another level because lads are trying to impress, trying to get in that team, and they only have maybe 3 weeks of training.
Yep.
So yeah, everyone kind of stood up to the plate this year, in friends. Give
So,
it the worst.
yeah, you can, but just not on this. Uh, so who's like? So actually, John, it's simple. What's your daily routine like between what your work wise? What are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, so at the minute now, I'm working from home. I'm a trainee accountant. So yeah, our daily routine would be getting up at 8, getting some breakfast into me, or sometimes rolling out of bed and straight onto the desk.
Exact same.
But yeah, no, I'm working around 8:30 to 5 or 9 to 5 every day. At the minute now, I'm actually studying as well, so exams come up in September.
Really? Yeah. What?
So they're just ACCA, the Chartered Accounting exams. Yeah, so that's in September. So yeah, it's hard kind of trying to juggle it all with training as well. But
that kind of leads into my question. Yeah. How do you find like is it?
yeah, like it's intense, but if you can plan your week, like you said, if you have a daily routine and you know what you have to do each week and tick it off the list, it makes a big difference. You couldn't just wake up and just go with the flow really, because you need to get your work done. You need to study on top of that, and you need to be feeling fresh for training. So if I'm sitting down looking at the screen all day and then trying to go up and go down and train, it just causes injury. So yeah, definitely just plan my week.
And it's mental.
Make sure I get
it's challenging. Like, I mean, it's challenging for anyone anyway. Everyone's working at home, and I've been through this with all my interviews. I've always asked about the pandemic because it affects people differently, of course. But like, I mean, that is part of the challenge. I mean, going from basically your routine day of working and kind of when it gets towards the end of the day, you're feeling a bit tired and you're a bit sluggish, and then to pick mentally up again and physically to go out training, like that's not easy at all.
It definitely isn't. But like you said, you just have to kind of have your hour after work where you're just chilling and getting the head right. And there's always 2 or 3 of us driving out together out to Rackhill. It's around 30 minutes from us. So the local lads, the 2 other morning lads, Luke Murphy and Donovan, so we always go out together kind of carefully. So it's good having them as well to have the chat before training, just to chill and have a bit of a laugh. And then like once you get out, I suppose, into the change room and the field, it's proper, zone in and get ready for a hard session.
Yeah, because I can't imagine it being easy. I mean, even if I went training, I don't play at a high level in anything, but even if I was to go training, like, I mean, it would be tough. So yeah, I get that completely. So moving forward, where do you think you stand in terms of the rest of the counties? Do you think you're going to make bigger strides next year? Like, where do you think you'll be in 2-3 years time? If you just even guess.
Yeah. So like if I can only look back on last year, I suppose, and what we've achieved. And I just think with not only the 26-man squad that turn up on the day, but like the whole panel, the 36, 37, whatever it is, like there's a lot of lads competing for places even to get into the 26. So that's always a good sign. And sometimes we honestly, when the team was picked on a Thursday night, we hadn't a clue who was going to make the 26 and our mind was starting 15.
Yep.
And that's always a good sign when you have a good panel and when you have lads that are going to stick with it for a few years. That's always been the problem with Limerick football. You could have all these lads in for 1 year, but the next year then 5 or 6 could leave. It's kind of about that's what Billy has done so well. It's got that group of players in who want to play for Limerick and who get on well with each other, and there's a good environment within that squad. Everyone seems to be friends now, which is important. And that means they will stick together. So next year I'd be hoping that we'd be competing at Division 3. I'd say, competing at Division 3 level, hopefully looking at promotion. And I'd say at the minute we'd probably be a high Division 3 team or maybe a low Division 2 team. That's where I see it at the minute.
Yeah. So I can't say you're wrong. I hope so. So I suppose I know you're busy, so I'll just wind down with 2-3 last questions. I suppose, like, simply put, being part of a team, like what's so special about, like, okay, actually simpler, what's special about representing your county? What's your favorite part of putting on the Limerick jersey?
I suppose you're representing the people around you, so you have your family, your friends, your club mates, and they all take interest in what you're doing, and they're all so proud of you when you put on that jersey. So yeah, I'd always, when I have it on, I'd be thinking about them.
Yep.
And the text you get the night before, I suppose, or after when you play well, there's so many people interested, and they all want the best for you and want you to play well. So yeah, that always comes through my mind.
Support of the community, I suppose, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
like
nice.
a lot of GA lads say, it is a community environment. When you're playing, when you're with your club, you're playing with your friends and the county. All these boys for years, and you're playing with or against them. So it is a privilege to find that every time.
100%. Okay. Lastly, I suppose, if you could give me an idea of what you want to achieve for Limerick life as a whole, like what's your plan going forward? What motivates you, and what do you want to do in the next few years? What's top the list? Maybe top 3, top 2.
Yeah. I don't have any too many long-term goals, but for short-term goals, if we're talking football,
counting exams.
yeah, that's definitely a first. Hopefully pass those exams. Yeah. But yeah, with football as well, it's just to kind of hopefully get Limerick up to Division 2. I suppose that would be, and maybe next year go one step further in Championship. If we could maybe turn Cork, if we played them in a Munster semi, and just to get to a Munster final would be lovely. Not going to say that would be.
What you're saying is number 1 on the list is revenge against Cork, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Basically. But yeah, it'd be nice to get to maybe a Munster final down the line. It might be 3 or 4 years down the line, but yeah, that would always be a goal.
Yeah,
or maybe even get to maybe a Division 3 final, league final, playing Croke Park, something like that as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I know you're just being kind of, I suppose you have to be objective about it, and like you're saying 3 or 4 years, but if you keep going the way you're going, it could be a lot sooner than 3 or 4 years. Like, you just don't know. So hopefully, and because I brought it up there about 10 minutes ago, and don't worry, I'm leaving you go. I brought it up there 10 minutes ago just about the academy and stuff. Like, is there anyone that you see coming through who you're like, okay, yeah, they're developing into a player?
Good. Yeah. Well, if we're talking about the academy, if you look at the Limerick minor team now, the footballers are actually playing tonight in the Munster final.
Yep.
Now, a Limerick football team, minor team, getting to the Munster final, that hasn't been done in years.
Massive.
There's 5 more lean lads on that team as well, which is great to see just from a club perspective.
Absolutely.
I suppose. So yeah, that in itself says a lot. If a Limerick minor team, like these 18-year-olds, 17, 18-year-olds, are getting to Munster final and hopefully competing, and hopefully they'll get over the line tonight. It just shows that we're doing something right in the academy, and we are producing these players and keeping them. And hopefully now they'll stick with it, and they could filter into the senior team in the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, hopefully they can get one over Cork for all of us, to be honest. But it's going to be tough. Don't hold me on this, but I'm pretty sure I think Cork I think it could be 20, nearly 26, 27 titles at
that's it.
Minor level. I think Limerick have 1. So
that's it.
It's going to be tough, but I mean,
Cork and Kerry's, they dominate the football in fairness in Munster, and Limerick are. Yeah, like you said, they've won, which is kind of a depressing stat to hear, but hopefully it'll be 2 tonight.
That's the thing. That's again, at some point it's going to change. Yeah. So why not start tonight? And I hope they do it. I assume the both of us hope they do it and represent us pretty well, which I'm sure they will. They already have getting to the final, but hopefully they just go one step more and take it home now, to be honest.
Definitely. Hopefully they'll do the job now.
Anyways, that about wraps it up. And I really, really appreciate your time, because I know you're busy, and I wish you the best of luck in your exams as well. And I can't wait to see you in the green jersey again next year, my friend.
Thanks a million, Mark. I really appreciate it, and I enjoyed that chat.
Not at all. Anytime. And basically all I would say is that Cork lads, watch out there next year.
I hope you're right.
Always a pleasure, Brian. And it's been the Limerick Post Show, and I've been with Brian Donovan, and you can tune in next week for another show, ladies and gentlemen, and absolute pleasure, my man. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Mark. See you later.